Hey, what's going on? This is Mark's home owner and trainer, Fuller Fitness. With this video, um, I've done a few today. So, with this video, is to do pull-ups and to do pull-ups at in two different ways. So, to with the way this bar is set up, I fell in love with doing pull-ups like this. Um, in any position, wide, close, neutral, or shoulder width. So to go about shoulder width apart and to do pull-ups there, and then try to relax a bit, and then do pull-ups with a pronated hand grip. So that is the plan for this one. And I'm probably only going to do 2 or 3 reps unless I feel like doing 4. If I can do any, because sometimes I try to do pull-ups and hopefully today isn't one of those days, but sometimes I try to do pull-ups and it's just out of it. So, um, you know, I just did a bunch of other stuff before posting this video compared to the stuff I did to kind of warm up. I was thinking about doing pull-ups before the exercise I just did to be a part of the workout, but you know, just make changes as needed, depending on how you're feeling and why you're thinking about doing certain things. But I did 2 things before this, which was rack pulls, which I think I have 445 on the bar for rack pulls. Actually, you can watch the short on that if you want to look down a little bit, because it's not that far down from this one. And then I also did barbell rows. You can also see that one if you look down, if you scroll down in my shorts area to see that. So, like I said, this one is to do pull-ups and at 2 different hand positions unless I decide to do a third. When it comes to wide grip, I think I'm going to put some weight on my cord here and do that. I doubt I'm recording that this time. But I think I'm going to do that. But again, I don't think that part will be recorded. So to do pull-ups on my pieces here, I think they're called Swizzies. I almost forgot what they're called. So these you can barely see them. I've mentioned them before in past videos. I think late last year is when I first got them and told you guys about them, which again allows you to do pull-ups like this, especially if you have a bar like this or you're outside somewhere, depending on where you're able to hook this and get your pull-ups in. But then after I do that, then I'm going to do pronated pull-ups. So like I said, I think I'm only going to do 2. The goal is to do multiple sets of 2, so I might do a second set and then do the other ones. We'll see. All right, so 3. I probably could have did a 4th, but it felt like that would have taken more effort. And with the way that I'm trying to do things this week is to do it without it taking a certain amount of effort, to not force the 3rd or 4th rep. So the 3rd one I didn't have to necessarily force. It felt weird doing the pull-ups today because of the bar I have sitting here when I did my rack pulls earlier. So now I'm trying to make it to where my knee doesn't hit the bar, so that's my fault. And I could go ahead and take it off, and should go ahead and take it off, but so I think I might do a second set. And in fact, while I'm taking some time, I think I will go ahead and take this stuff off. Alright, taking off my 25s. Now taking off the 35s. Alright, so move some stuff around so now I can do my pull-ups without trying to maneuver over anything. And for me, depending on what you're doing, for me, my goal is not to try to do a lot of reps. So I know certain people are like, you should do, more reps. Um, for those who say stuff like that, they probably care about doing more reps, or they were just told many times within a certain number of time, probably years, that they should do however many pull-ups when it comes to doing, especially if you're in the military or certain things like that, to do 20 or more push-ups and however many pull-ups you can do. Um, that's not my goal, especially if you're trying to do, like with push-ups, it would take me a certain number of time to do as many as I can do. One, that's boring. Two, I don't want to do it. As far as pull-ups, I have no idea how many pull-ups I can do, and I'm not determined to find out. I don't think it's that many, but I don't know how many I can do, and I'm not really determined to find out. Um, so again, I just chose to do multiple sets of two. The numbers change, whether it's four or whatever, but I think one week I did six, which might have been 2 weeks ago. So the numbers change. All right, so that was different than the last set without having that bar under me and in the way and my knee bumping the bar. So put my swizzies away and do almost at push-ups, pull-ups with pronated grip. All right, and then for anyone who's bored enough to say anything about anybody, especially men wearing gloves, get over it. Especially seeing that there are legitimate reasons for people to wear gloves. So as far as bringing that up and why, it's I believe for many of us is to the fact that my hands get so sweaty sometimes. Like I think I'm okay today, but my hands get so sweaty sometimes. So to make it less likely that I have to deal with that, just put on some gloves. And then for anyone who's bored enough to say anything about anybody, especially men wearing gloves, get over it. Especially seeing that there are legitimate reasons for people to wear gloves. So as far as bringing that up and why, it's I believe for many of us is to the fact that my hands get so sweaty sometimes. Like I think I'm okay today, but my hands get so sweaty sometimes. So to make it less likely that I have to deal with that, just put on some gloves. Though it is funny that people are stupid enough to complain about people who work out with gloves, especially guys. It's weird on what certain people are motivated to complain about. I might actually try to do wide grip pull-ups today. I'm not sure. But I'm about to do pull-ups with the pronated grip in terms of why. I just want to. In fact, while I still have a certain amount of energy, I think I am going to go ahead and, since I'm doing this grip anyway, I think I am going to go ahead and, again, it might not matter to where I might use the Swizzies for the wide grip, but I think right now I'm going to go ahead and do the wide grip with a pronated grip. Who knows how many pull-ups I'll get? I usually don't get that many. I don't know if I've ever done more than 4. And the interesting thing is about anyone who gets upset with not being able to do a certain number of pull-ups. Excuse me, I don't know where that came from. But anyone who gets upset with not being able to do a certain number of pull-ups, there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to consider when it comes to why you might not be able to do a certain number of pull-ups. One, if you weigh a certain amount. So if you weigh a certain amount, you're probably only likely to do a certain number. That's not an excuse. That's should be obvious. Because if the weight didn't matter, obviously everybody will be able to bench 600 pounds. Everybody will be able to squat 650. Everybody will be able to deadlift 700. So if the weight didn't matter, obviously there'll be more of certain things going on. But depending on how much experience you have with doing pull-ups, the hand position that you choose, how fast you go while trying to do your pull-ups. So I mean, there's many reasons as to why certain people can't do pull-ups, or at least think they can't, and then certain people who can but don't do a certain number, and it's probably because you're going too fast or using a hand position, especially for I don't think much has changed since I was young. I'm going on 40 this year, depending on when certain people see this video, 2025. So I think there's a belief and preference for a lot of people to do pull-ups underhand, and that's interesting, not realizing how much bicep they're getting in by doing that. And a lot of ladies are doing that lately. So, or I shouldn't say a lot of ladies, but I see ladies doing that underhand. I'm not sure if as many guys are doing it, because again, it seems easier to do it that way. But that's working more of your bicep compared to your back. The back is still getting work, so why not, I guess. But so again, there has to be a good reason as to why people are doing stuff. So see if I can do one more set of wide grip of 1, 2, 3, whatever I can do. I think I just did 2.5, so damn, those are hard. Those are hard, especially if you weigh a certain amount. So, especially if you weigh a certain amount. Hot damn. So I think I'm gonna go back to what I just did, or what I did before, and do pull-ups. I might just say forget it and do it with the Swizzies again. So hold on. Since I already did 2 sets, pronated on with the wide grip, I'll just go ahead and do a second set doing pull-ups like this. So there has to be a real, I think there should be a dedicated reason to why people are doing stuff. So get. Get. All right. Sorry about that. So all right, so the interesting thing is, I think I just did a 3rd set with this. So I managed to forget what I did the first time. So I might have did a 3rd set with that. If you watch that, put it in the comments to let me know if you remember whether or not I just did a 3rd set. Because I think I did. I'm not sure. Probably not. But for some reason I have it in my head that I might have just done a 3rd set. So with close grip, where I saw it. Close grip. There it is. I'm looking for my bar or handle, whatever. So sometimes I do which used to be my favorite, but I used to do pull-ups with my hands real close. I might do it now, I'm not sure. So either I'm gonna do a real close pull-up like this, or use this. So hopefully it doesn't take me long to make that decision. Yeah, that's a, I don't know if I should do one of each or I don't know if I should do one of each or what, but let me see. That is more bicep. that before. It just felt different today. Maybe it's because I did wide grip pull-ups, so that kind of that took away from what and how I was going to do stuff. Because I originally was going to put a bunch of weight on my cables and do wide grip pull-ups that way. So I don't know. I might, for the next set, use this. It just gets kind of annoying doing that because it feels like you have to try to put your head to the side so that you don't obviously hit your head, compared to arching your back and almost doing a row. So other than that, that's an awesome exercise. So I don't know if there's a spot you can put that on, or where you can put that on or in to where you can do your pull-ups and not be likely to bust your head once you get up there. And thank you for everybody, anyone who's watching and watching the whole video up to this point, especially seeing that that's the last piece that I'm going to use. Like I said, it's interesting doing pull-ups like that, because then you have to try not to hit your head once you get to the top, for those who haven't done it yet. Especially if you see certain people doing pull-ups and they, go to this side, especially if those of us who like doing stuff with even numbers at every chance we get. So do two pull-ups this side, 2 pull-ups on that side. It's not to be cute or trending, just not to bust your head once you get up there. Alright, so see if I can get, I should be able to do 4, but definitely want to do 2. I think I did 4, maybe 6 the last time I did it, but I doubt I'm doing 6. So I don't even plan on trying to do 6. Do you like doing those? Do you do them? Do you like doing them? Do you love doing them? For any of you watching this and do stuff like pull-ups like that, do you do them? How often do you do them? Do you do them at home like I'm doing them? The interesting thing about these handles, it's funny to me now because I don't work out at the gym. When I was at the gym, it was very fucking annoying. But using these, and I don't know how different it is at each gym. The last gym I was at, it was LA Fitness, then it went to eSport. I think it went back to LA Fitness, at least where I live now. When you go to look for these in the gym, that is a very annoying task. One of the many reasons I like working out at home. Like, because I live with one other person, my brother actually, but man, to be in a gym, especially a gym that has a certain amount of people at a certain amount of time, and then almost regardless of what time it is, the fact that people move stuff and don't put it back is, man, one of the many reasons I'm glad I don't work out at the freaking gym. It is so annoying, especially when I go to look for those, so that I can do T-bar rows. I go around the gym looking for those, man. That might take like 5 minutes, and then by the time I go back to the area so I can do T-bar rolls, somebody might be over there. But, but because I already put it, for me at least, if people if people see that you put weight on a bar, there's people are more likely to look around to see, hey, was somebody on here, So thankfully, people aren't overly selfish and overly stupid, but that's one of the many reasons I don't like working out at the gym, and you see it on social media, to where depending on what time it is and what season it is, you put some weight down somewhere, and all of a sudden you go to grab another dumbbell, or you grab a towel, grab some water. All of a sudden you come back and somebody's on that bench that you were getting ready to use, or the seat for shoulder presses, or the incline bench, and it is interesting on how many people try to hog up the squat rack for whatever the reason, even if they're not doing squats. So so even though there are, with the way things are now compared to when I was growing up, you could do pull-ups and all these different things at the rack, but the fact that people go to a rack and be there for like 10 minutes, if not longer, and then certain people be working out together. So do what works for you, but which is what I'm doing. I prefer to work out at home. It's the only thing, you know, challenging, and there's a few things, but depending on what you're trying to do. So for those watching videos like this, it's likely you believe and want to improve your strength or watch other people who are kind of strong doing stuff. So for those of us who care about strength training and lifting kind of heavy, if not very heavy, the only thing that goes with that, like, I really shouldn't be lifting this heavy where I live, and I'm hoping to move when my lease is up, into somewhere else that has a garage and or basement. I kind of don't want to go into a basement, but a basement and or garage, to where I can put this stuff in and not have to worry about issues with the floor, at least for those of us who want to and do lift heavy. And then depending on what kind of equipment you have and how heavy you're going, I never have a spotter, and that was a problem once, maybe twice. Maybe 3 times. There was a third time, I think I had 150 pounds on my dumbbells, I think, or somewhere close to it. And I did it 1 or 2 reps, however many reps I did. And I usually try to, and I kind of want to stop doing that, but I usually do however many reps with my heavy dumbbell chest presses, and then I usually get up. The weight was so heavy I couldn't get back up. And then I didn't want to drop my dumbbells on the floor to not mess up the dumbbells or the floor. But it was so heavy I couldn't get up. And my brother was asleep, even though I'm not sure he's strong enough to hold 150-pound dumbbells anyway, especially without hurting his back or anything. So eventually I did drop them, but it wasn't because I wanted to, but thankfully I didn't hurt anything. So hopefully, depending on what people are capable of and how heavy you go sometimes, or anytime, but sometimes you might have to go less. So I don't think it was, it's hard to tell. I don't think it was that, it was heavy. I don't think I necessarily needed to lift less. It's just that any other time I did that, I was able to get up. For some reason that morning, and maybe it's because it was so early, I couldn't get back up with it and had to drop it on the floor. So thankfully, my dog wasn't around to get hurt. My cat usually isn't around when I'm working out. Actually, I don't think she's ever around when I work out anymore. She used to. So I used to pull out this tripod and she'll come right out. So I don't remember if I was in high school or college when I first started doing those. I don't know. Ugh, not that it matters, but I don't remember if I had that idea myself or if I saw somebody else grab that handle and do it and I thought it was a really good idea. Um, or I think I said something about wanting my back to look a certain way, specifically toward the middle of the back. And I think somebody suggested that. So again, I don't remember what led me to doing that, but I like them. So, so I've liked them for at least 20 years or somewhere real close to it. Again, going on 40. Um, so, like I said, for the again, in terms of doing a certain number of reps, it depends on your hand position. It depends on how many you are capable of doing at that time, how often you practice. Some people might be practicing too much um, to where you're overusing the muscles. I remember a guy said something about trying to do pull-ups every day, especially being as old and as big as he was at the time. He wasn't old, but old enough to where it's just like at your age, you don't really need to be doing pull-ups every day. And that's my opinion. I don't think people should be doing squats, push-ups, or anything every single day. Um, One, that's boring, at least for me, and two, I don't really see the point in people doing stuff every day, especially if it's really heavy. Because again, that's just doing an unnecessary amount of stuff to your body without you being able to take at least one day to recover. Um, and I think it just kind of messes with you mentally in terms of getting into such a boring routine. I mean, if you like it, go for it. But I don't really see the point in it. So again, just doing something to warm up before you do the pull-ups, just like hopefully anything else, especially whatever your first exercise is. Trying different hand positions, see how that works for you, and then just trying different things, depending on what you have available to you. Even if you're working out outside and doing pull-ups on a tree or the jungle gym at the playground, so many ways to do it, many reasons to do it. But if you want a certain amount of help when it comes to pull-ups or anything else that you're doing, in terms of being trying to do more of certain things, um, as far as lifting heavier or more reps, going heavier, trying to do more reps of certain things, like for football players and maybe even I think basketball players they bench 185, but for football players trying to do a certain number of reps with 225, which I think is a waste of time, but since that's part of what they do at the combine for whatever the reason, to help people get better with that. So whether it's your bench, squat, deadlift, rack pulls, pull-ups, whatever it is that you're trying to get stronger at when you're doing your workouts, and you want help, and you actually believe I can help you, which I can, and you actually believe that I can help you, and ready to find out how I can help you. I do have online personal training. Um, Online personal training to where you get to do your workouts whenever you want, whether it's really early in the morning, late morning, early afternoon, evening. So, whenever it is that you get to fit your workouts in, you get to do it. But I can still help you regardless of what time you're doing it with me actually sending you your workouts. We communicate back and forth on what changes need to be made, questions, comments, or concerns that you have, whether we use different equipment, different sets, different rep ranges, you know, certain things that go into you being able to improve based off of whatever your current goal is. And instead of you getting annoyed trying to figure it out, I get to figure it out. And, we just keep going and going for, for a certain period of time, to get you to a certain point and then see what happened from there. Um, Having your own personal profile and a workout calendar to where what's today? Today is Monday, depending on when certain people see this. So, um, you know, you know, um, I work out Monday through Friday. So Monday I'm doing certain things. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday I'm doing certain things on each of those days. So depending on how your schedule goes and what we agree upon, to send you your workouts, again, depending on how you're feeling and um, whether or not certain changes need to be made in terms of whatever, I can go in and actually do that. So again, just the fact that you don't have to do it alone. Because growing up, when I did, there was a lot of stuff not available. Even though at 40, I'm not necessarily that old, but when I was growing up, a lot of this stuff, like YouTube, this wasn't available. I'm older than YouTube. I believe I'm older than Google by quite a bit, by enough. So the fact that I had to be as creative as I can possibly be, trying to figure out how to work certain muscles. I didn't really have money to get the magazines, so I would go to the store and try to look through them, sometimes actually buy them. Um, so I didn't have that option at 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. There's only but so many options that I had in terms of how, what, when, why, what to eat, how often to eat, how many meals, and all these different things that I would have loved to have had information to, even though now at 40, for the last over 5 years, I've been vegan. So now, I'm good in terms of information, but, the fact that the time it took to learn that, and for those of us that are vegan or want to be. So, just so again, so especially for you younger people, to have someone who's been doing it for decades, um, and knows how to improve and overcome, um, for you to not take as long as I did to improve. At one point it seemed like I was stuck at, even though I didn't have heavier dumbbells, you know, when it, to get to press, chest press, and shoulder press 100-pound dumbbells, do rows with 100-pound dumbbells. But then once I got to that point, I, due to the gym I was going to, not having any other options yet, until I found out about Olympic dumbbells. So, again, depending on your age, your level of experience, if any experience, your interest on improving, if you contact me at Fuller, direct message me at Fuller Fitness BNY, depending on what struggles you're having, almost regardless of what struggles you're having, and depending on why you're having those struggles and wanting help, send me a direct message at Fuller Fitness BNY. Let's get you started and let's get you feeling and performing at your best. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like to help me out, as well as helping others who would like to see stuff like this. Share it with people who might like to see stuff like this, as well as other stuff that I have. And then subscribe so that you're notified of future videos with stuff, different equipment and loads that I'm moving, and suggestions that I have. So, if you like any parts of this and look forward or curious as to what the next video would might be, which is understandable, then go ahead and subscribe, and look forward to sharing it with you again. This is Martin, owner trainer, Fuller Fitness. Take care.